Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review and reviewing another 20th anniversary for another film from 1996. And it's another film that stars Mel Gibson. And for this one, I'm reviewing is, I would say it's a pretty good thriller, I would say, or at least it's dubbed a thriller. And it is the film Ransom. Yes, Ransom from 1996 stars Mel Gibson, along with a few other A-list actors on here. Stars Rene Russo, who plays his wife, which they both appeared together at Lethal Weapon 3 before this, and then Lethal Weapon 4 after this film. Gary Sinise, who's our villain in the movie, and Delroy Lindo. So you got a few A-list actors in this, and with a pretty good cast. And also among us in the supporting cast, you have stars Lili Taylor, who remember from starring in The Haunting and The Conjuring, the first one. And also Liev Schreiber, who mostly played Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and Donnie Wahlberg, one of the brothers to Mark Wahlberg, who's been in films like starring in some of the Saw sequels and Dead Silence 2. So a decent enough supporting cast. So overall, the cast is fine, and it's directed by Ron Howard, director of Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, In the Heart of the Sea, Splash, Cocoon, Backdraft, Frost Nixon, Rush, the Da Vinci Code trilogy, which is the recent release of the third one, Inferno. So, and Ron Howard, I always enjoy as a director. He's directed a lot of good movies, and I would say I think he did a good job with this film. Although it's like loosely based on from the 50s film called Ransom, which really starred Leslie Nielsen in it. So it's loosely, you can say this is like loosely, it's kind of like a remake though, but I see it as like a standalone movie to me, because I haven't seen that 50s film though, but to me I can see it as like a standalone movie, not like a remake. I can't see this as a remake. But and also with Ron Howard once again, help with producer Brian Grazer, as well as worked on his majority of his movies as producer, and also the score made by the late James Horner, who has now passed away a while back, sadly. Score I like from his score. It just sucks that he's no longer with us. Put him as a good composer along with Jerry Goldsmith and then Hans Zimmer and other composers, though. Also John Williams too, but sucks he's no longer with us, and he did a good job with the score. So, and also has for features, this is like a special edition, but doesn't have too many features. It has some extensive deleted scenes, featurette with the cast and crew, and behind the scenes special with the cast of filmmakers, and also has a commentary with director Ron Howard. So, and the film got some praise. It has 6.6 on IMDb though, but it's 75% Rotten Tomatoes. And it performed well domestically and worldwide at the box office. Has a worldwide total of $309 million on its budget, well above its budget of $80 million. And it was one of the top films of 1996 as well. Um, so yeah, and I thought Mel Gibson did a really good job, and Gary Sinise, who plays the villain as this crooked cop named Jimmy Shaker, I thought he did. I thought he did a really well job as a bad guy, which normally you don't see him play like one. I don't think I haven't seen Gary Sinise play like another bad guy if I am wrong, but I think this he did a great job as the bad guy in this film. So it open okay. The story is about Mel Gibson with his wife Rene Russo and their son Sean. He's Mel Gibson. He's like He's kind of like a millionaire because he works. Well, I guess he has like some kind of airline thing type of thing. And one day when their son take their son to a science fair, Sean he gets kidnapped and is taken to a hidden secret place where they don't think they'll find him. And Gary Sinise, who is a cop, he's the leader. He's behind all the kidnapping with the crew. Lili Taylor as a character named Maris, who was like a caterer who worked with Mel Gibson. Liev Schreiber and Donnie Wahlberg are brothers. They're in on it, and this other guy, let's see, Evan Handler as this character Miles. So that's the whole crew, and Mel Gibson gets an email from the kidnapper that he wants $2 million to pay up in order to have the son back, and it says no cops or his son dies. So, but they like discreetly call the FBI, and the leader of the FBI is played by Delroy Lindo, and they set up operations, how typical stuff for FBI to set up the stuff inside the place. And Mel Gibson, he suspects that there was a guy that he had that there was a kind of like a scandal type of thing in his business, and the FBI was involved with, and he thinks this guy named Jackie Brown might be behind it, so he goes to talks to him in prison, and which is really played by Dan Hanadea, who was the bad guy in Commando and a little role in at the beginning of Alien Resurrection. He asks him if he's behind this, and he says no. So he's back to square one. And the thing is, though, because with the whole thing we had with the FBI, because of the kind of the scandal thing with him and Dan Hanadea, that's basically he paid the guy off, which he went to jail with, which he would have though, but said it was the other guy. So he basically bought his way out of trouble, as would Gary Sinise describes him as. So he Gary Sinise, he calls him up, which he has the thing, disguise his voice so they wouldn't recognize him. Gives him directions on where to go first, like description of how he wants the money in these suitcases, or give the direction where to go. Like, he goes to this place where there's a pool and you jump in fully clothed, because he knows that probably being a cop, he knows how these guys planted with the microphones or whatever to scramble the FBI agents up. And then there's this key in the locker, and quickly change clothes, and take this other car that has a walkie in it, and while Gary Sinise is driving another car following Mel Gibson to go to this stone quarry, where he'll get the money, and he'll give the address to where his son is. And while with that, Donnie Wahlberg, who is playing the brother of Liev Schreiber, he kind of feels bad about the kid. He kind of see him taking care of the kid, and talking to the kid, it'll be over soon. I'll get you to your daddy in no time. So he kind of feels bad about the kid. He doesn't kind of agree with this though, but yeah, he's doing what he's told to, but at the same time he doesn't want the kid to be hurt or anything. Like, when before he takes off to get the money, he tells his brother, "Is like, you tell Jimmy that I'm not gonna give him the money unless he turns the kid loose." So he shows how he cares about the kid. He cares about his safety. So he goes up to Mel Gibson. He holds him at gunpoint and says, "Give me the money, give me the money." And Mel Gibson's like, "Give me the address." And he's like, "What?" Guess he didn't give like full instructions of what Gary Sinise told him to do. And then the police are on top of him. If he has the money, he has on this he's riding on this ATV and he's being chased by the police because up by the helicopter. He starts shoots one guy in the shoulder, and one of the police over on the chopper has a sniper rifle and shoots him right here in the neck, and he's bleeding to death. And Bill goes to trying to get him where's his son at, but he can't get out of him because he's bleeding to death in the neck and he dies. And Liev Schreiber's a little bit distraught because the brothers are very close, and he says he doesn't want to do this no more because his brother's dead, and he knows that because they're both war criminals, and they'll know his involvement. He's like, "I'm out of here," and Gary C says no, and gives him like gives him a bit of a hand strike to the neck. So. And then Gary Sinise goes and calls Mel Gibson again, and then tells him to give him new directions, and in while that was going on, they're talking. Mel Gibson talking with Delroy, Lindo, and Rene Russo, saying that kind of suspect that if they give the money to him, he'll kill his son anyway, so they assume he's gonna be dead. So when he calls, Mel Gibson tells him, he's like, "No, he's dead." And he tells him, "Don't bullshit me." And he's like, "No, my son is dead. Go to hell." And hangs up. And they're doing that episode hopefully, but hopefully he'll call back and hopefully he'll get a chance to talk with his son. Which he does. You hear him say "Dad," and so no, he's still alive. So he tells him to go with the new directions. And while he's at drive-in, he stops and he comes up with another plan. He goes live on television. He broadcasts himself to the whole world about the kidnapping of his son, and he shows that he has laid out the $2 million in front of the cameras for everyone to see, and telling the kidnappers like, "But this is going to be as close as the money as you're going to see because I'm not giving you $1 of this. Instead, I'm gonna make this into a reward to anyone to turn you over. Dead or alive doesn't matter. So you're not gonna get one dime of this, not one penny. Congratulations, you just became a $2 million lottery ticket." So yeah, he goes and he says, "If you turn my son alive unharmed, I'll withdraw the bounty." And that's it, and then you can simply just disappear. So he turns into a bounty, which Delroy Lindo and Rene Russo thinks that they don't like what he did though. But one point where Rene Russo was told to go to this one place where the kidnapper is, and this time he's wearing a mask so he doesn't see what his face is. He kind of hits her a little bit and whispers to her, it's like, you tell them I'm sick and tired of his bullshit, till he gives me my effing money. And he gives to her like a blade of shirt that the son wore. And then when they calls back again, there's a lot of rough talkness between Mel Gibson and Gary Sinise, and I thought one point where I don't know why about this, but I thought it was kind of like a one creepy little scene because when the camera's focused on Gary Sinise's face when he's talking on the phone, this is the one point I don't know why. I just the creepiness of his eyes for one point. He has like wide open eyes and just kind of give that kind of like creepiness. If everyone knows what I'm saying, everyone has not seen the movie. There's the point where he's talking with Mel Gibson up to this point, and he's talking. You see a glance of his face. You see him. His eyes are a little bit wide open. I don't know why. Just for some reason, I got like kind of a creepiness vibe to him. That Gary Sinise. Because I thought he did a great job as playing this crooked cop, and just that one little scene right there. Just I don't know why. He just has that creepy lookness to his eyes. I don't know why. But I'm not probably the only one who kind of notices this. But I'm just pointing it out. So, and then Mel Gibson, does a good job of acting. He's telling, Mayor, I'm not paying you any money. You give me back my son. Give me back my son. And Gary's just like, you want your son? You want your son? And then he goes and shoots, which they thought he killed his son, but of course he didn't. He misses. But the response with Rene Russo and Mel Gibson is like, oh my God, no. And Rene Russo goes and slaps Mel Gibson like, you killed my son, you killed my son. Just the acting I thought with Rene Russo, Mel Gibson, Gary Sinise, well done. Kind of like how a normal response if your child is killed, he's like, oh, the emotional breakdown and stuff like that. So, but then after that, Liev Schreiber, Evan, a handler, and they're both saying basically like, screw this, we're packing up, we're leaving, we're out of this anymore, we don't want anything to do with this anymore. And Gary Sinise knows that the season about to make their getaway, so he double crosses them, and he stands in front of their van. He identifies himself as a police officer, like, police, step out of the van or drop the gun. And Liev Schreiber tries to run him over, but Gary Sinise shoots both those guys. You see practical blood squibs, not CG. Actual blood squibs coming out. They makes it like, seems like the guy, bad guy shot at him and plants the gun in one of them. But then he takes a bullet to the shoulder by Lili Taylor, and he shoots her back. And he goes down there to go in the room where the kid is being held at, and the SWAT team is coming in. He's like, it's all right, I'm a cop. So it makes it seem like he saved the son, and he's been taken away in an ambulance. And Mel Gibson shakes his hand, saying thank you, not knowing that he was the kidnapper though. And then at the hospital, Gary Sinise is giving his fake story to the cops, believing that how he saved the kid and how he took the bad guys out. And then he goes to Mel Gibson's place to collect the reward, because also a little after the broadcast and before that call, Mel Gibson goes to the press and says he's doubling the bounty to $4 million. So Gary Sinise goes there to collect the $4 million reward. And he's talking to Mel Gibson as Mel Gibson's about to write out the check, and Gary Sinise asks him, like, tell me, why didn't you pay the ransom? And he says, Mel Gibson says, oh, because I was dealing with human garbage. And because he also recognized Lili Taylor as one of the people who worked for him, and he was trying to understand why would she do it as well. And talks about being two-faced, and Gary Sinise says, well, I guess some people are, anyone can be two-faced. And while also on the son hears Gary Sinise's voice, because he remembers his voice from being, while he was kidnapped, he recognizes his voice, and he has that legitimate scared look on his face. Well, Gary Sinise can't see him, though, but Mel Gibson can see him. He looks at him, and he has that scared look on his face, and he sees that he pees himself. And then he knows that Gary Sinise is the real kidnapper. And he's about to finish the check, but he writes on something that makes it seem like it's not legit. And Gary Sinise sees that, And it says, like, you think I'm going to let you walk out here so you can call the cops while I go and cash this in? Tell me exactly who you were dealing with. Is this you had my son? Oh, it's like you do not know what human garbage is, motherfucker. And Gary Sinise was phenomenal as bad guy. I honestly probably I don't think he never played another bad guy in another movie. If he hasn't, if he did, I can't remember. But I thought he did a phenomenal job as the bad guy. And so he says instead he can wire the money to him, so he'll Milkus tells him we'll walk into the bank together, we'll cash it out, and then I'll take you wherever you want. I can fly you out of here. So he agrees to that, and as they're driving, says he wants to get on a plane to Mexico. And he tells him, Mel Gibson thinks he's supposedly supposed to tell him the airline whatever, but it's really talking to Delroy Lindo and the FBI that he's explaining, I need a plane and we're walking to the bank. And Gary Sinise is getting a little suspicious, and as they're walking to the bank, they're stopped by some other police officers who see Gary Sinise, as being the hero for saving the boy, and also by the people in the bank as well. And which buys some time for the FBI to finally catch up to them. And Gary Sinise thinks he's like, there's no way out of this, so he goes and shoots a couple of cops, and he starts running, and Mel Gibson's running after him in the traffic. And then one of the least to know that they both throw each other into this window of a store, and they're both bleeding, and Gary Sinise has a little bit of cut around the neck here. He's a little bit bleeding out, and Mel Gibson has his gun, and Delroy Lindo is like, "Hey, Tom, put the gun down. Shaker, put your hand, you stay right there or whatever." And Gary Sinise has a little secret gun behind, one of those guns you put on your leg, a hidden gun just in case. So he's reaching out for the second gun, and he pulls it out, and Mel Gibson and Delroy Lindo, they both shoot him. And as the movie ends, then it cut, and the picture fades into a black and white filter. So, and Rene Russo's there to be there with Mel Gibson as well. So, but yeah, Ransom. I enjoy it because Mel Gibson, I thought he did a good job. Gary Sinise, I thought he did phenomenal as our villain of the movie, this crooked cop named Jimmy Shaker. I thought Gary Sinise, I thought he did a top-notch job as a bad guy, really enough. And especially that one part when he was talking to Mel Gibson, just the crazy eyes. I don't know why. It's just that one little part of that scene where he's talking to him. It's just that crazy eyes. I don't know why. So, but regardless, so Gary Sinise, I thought he did a really phenomenal job as our villain. Mel Gibson, I thought he did a good job as well. Rene Russo, Delroy Lindo. Supporting cast, Liev Schreiber, which I'm not a fan of X-Men Origins Wolverine, but I thought he was okay in this. Donnie Wahlberg, same thing. The supporting cast I thought was decent overall. The supporting characters. But there are two main stars, Mel Gibson and Gary Sinise. The little banter between the whole entire film. The score by the late James Horner, I thought was pretty good. The direction by Ron Howard. Once during his films in the '90s, like Apollo 13 and there was another film in the '90s I forgot that he would direct. I forget though. I can't place it though. But let me look up again. I know there's some other films in the '90s that he did besides Apollo 13. Backdraft, Far and Away, Paper, Ed TV, yeah. But it was mostly like in the mid '90s. It was basically Apollo. Yeah, he did this film after he did Apollo 13. So, but yeah, Ron Howard, I thought he did a really good job with the film. Well, I put this in my top 10 favorite Well, actually, yeah, I would put this in my top 10 favorite Ron Howard films. Definitely Apollo 13, um, Cocoon, Backdraft, Splash. So yeah, but Ron Howard, I thought he did a good job directing. Was the cast, especially Mel Gibson and well, speaking of Mel Gibson, he was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor because I thought he did give a nice dramatic performance. But I say Gary, I think the main thing is I guess the main point basically the highlight was Gary Sinise as the bad guy, because I don't think I see him play that. I think this is like the only film I think I see him playing a bad guy before. If there was, probably I can't remember though. But if I'm mistaken though, but I thought he did a good job as the bad guy. You know, because they say Gary Sinise from Lieutenant Dan and Forrest Gump, Stephen King's The Last Stand, or was it not The Last Stand? The Stand. It was. Of course, Apollo 13 as well. So yeah, I thought Gary Sinise was, to me, like basically the highlight was Gary Sinise as the villain. Mel Gibson I'm not down to Mel Gibson. I thought he did a really dramatic performance in this movie, but I thought Gary Sinise was a little bit stole the show a little bit more than Mel Gibson did. To me personally, though, but regardless of Mel Gibson, I thought he did a really good performance. It's just James Horner sucks. He's no longer with us. I thought his score was pretty decent. Directed by Ron Howard, and I think this film is. I don't see this film as a remake, like how I would say it was a loose remake from the 1956 film. I can't see this as a remake, but if anyone has not seen Ransom, it probably is one of the best films that involves like kidnapping. Because if there's other films that involves a straightforward kidnapping for a ransom, I say it's probably one of the best ones. I don't think there's not. I can't think of any. I can't. Probably there is, but I can't just. I'm just drawing a blank right now. If there's anyone's like, that's solely a kidnapping story for ransom, I say it's one of the best ones. But yeah, so this is my 20th anniversary review of Ron Howard's film Ransom. Mel Gibson was really good, and the same thing with Gary Sinise. Top-notch job as a villain. And it is a bit. And I'm afraid to say it is a bit bloody. You know, at one point where the bad guys get shot, especially Liev Schreiber, Gary Sinise, Lili Taylor, and also and Donnie Wahlberg as well. It is a little bit bloody as well. So. And it does fit the R rating as well, because there is a fair amount of swearing. So, but yeah, Rod Siskel and Ebert they gave the film 2 thumbs up. People magazine calls it a slang bang thriller. Rolling Stone calls it tension packed. I would give it a thumbs up as well. I would agree with Siskel and Ebert. Yeah, but I think it's a pretty good thriller, I would say. So yeah, my 20th anniversary review for Ransom. If anyone's not seen it, check it out. Give your own thoughts on it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.